Welcome back, Wogglers. Today we're going to talk about all the different field types that you can add to your different record modules. So each module has the same selection of field types. We'll just go through them really quickly. You got your single line field, which is just kind of like your standard text field. You can put any text in there. And then you have your multi-line field. The difference between these things is, for example, if you need to get the company name, that's not going to be a significant amount of characters, so you want to use the single line field for that. But if you want to put in background history and like a couple of different things that you've found off of their website, perhaps just for personal or internal reference, use the multi-line field because you get a larger character limit for that. The next up was we have the email field. That's for having emails. You've got the phone field, which is for phone numbers. Pick list. So a pick list is essentially it's also known as a drop-down field, where when you go to fill out that field, it drops down a list of pre-filled out options for the values there. And then, so if you add a new pick list field, then you can come in here and you could say, like start, end, in process, that sort of thing. You could just have a kind of a predetermined values for that field that someone can just go in and pick from. So one thing to note about this is it has this little gear of its own, and you can add options in bulk. So if you do have a lot of options, you can say, you can just go ahead and enter them here, like game, toy, board game, building blocks, that sort of thing. And then just click add values and it'll just add all of those values to your pick list. All right, don't forget to label all of your fields so that they're not named pick list 1, single line 1, that sort of thing. All right, a multi-select is a multi-select pick list, which essentially means that you can have those predetermined values, but you can select more than one of them. So for example, if you have a multi-select pick list, these might be, makes of cars that a car dealership offers, so Dodge, Toyota, that sort of thing. And then the user would have the ability to say that this particular dealership that they're putting in there sells more than one of these different makes. So that's a multi-select pick list. A date field, pretty standard, it's just to house dates. Date time, which is used better for if you're trying to keep appointments in there, so you can have the date and the time. Number field, which is it's pretty standard. It's just a number. So if you edit the properties here, you can see that you have a maximum digit of 9. You can not allow duplicate values, so you can use this field as a unique identifier if you want internally. So that's the number field, which is different from the auto number field, which allows you to automatically create numbers for records as they become created. This auto number field is really great for if you need to randomly generate a number for an account for whatever internal reason. You can give it a prefix and you can have a starting number. So for example, this would be, auto number, and then you can start at 100. And so you can also, when you first put it in there, you can also update existing records so that it would pre-populate all of your existing records with this auto number. This gets automatically populated on creation of a new record where this field exists. So it's something that you can use. You have your currency field, which holds currencies. Your decimal field, which is different from your number field because the decimal allows you to put decimals in there, whereas a number field does not. That is something to keep in mind. You have your percentage field, one thing to note about your percentage field is that it shows your percentage in whole numbers. It just is assuming that it is a percent. So you can have like, it would be 50%, it would populate as a value of 50. Then you've got your long integer, which differs from your number and decimal fields in that it does not allow for decimals, but you are allowed up to 18 digits for the long integer, whereas the regular number field only allows you to 9. So if you need to count something that will get into the billions, use the long integer field, or if you need to house a unique identifying number from perhaps an internal database that you guys use and you need to match up those records, then you could use the long integer field for that, assuming that your unique identifiers from your internal database don't have any non-numerical characters in them. So that is a good use case for a long integer field. You got your checkbox, just kind of standard check or uncheck. URL, which holds links. I'm going to circle back around to lookup field because that's a little more complicated. You have your formula field, which is a lot of fun because it very literally acts like a formula. So you can have it return a decimal, a currency, a string, which is text, a date, date time, or a Boolean, which means true or false. And then you can do some lookups to other fields that exist in that same record, and you would be able to use any of these different types of formulas, all of which, if you click on them, it gives you a function usage and it describes how to use that function. So if you need something to happen like that and you're like, what is len? Then you can see here it returns the number of characters in a specific text field string. So formulas are really great for using in the deals record if you need to do some calculations or, lots of different reasons to use a formula field. A user field, which looks up to all of the users in your account. And so then you can choose, for example, if your sales team is working a deal and there is somebody on the finance side who will need to have access to this deal and is specifically working the finance side of this sale, then you can tag that person as your finance coordinator, give them full access to the record, or you can give them read-write. For example, if it's a technician that you're giving access to this particular record, you can give them read-only. So that's kind of neat as well. You also have the ability to, just like your multi-select, you have the ability to tag multiple users. So that is fun. We've also got your file upload, which is kind of your standard if you need to collect files, file upload field. Image upload, same, but specifically for images. And then we have Rollup Summary, which is fun here. This is interesting. So what this does is it looks at the related records to this record. So we're looking at accounts right now, and so you can see we get notes, attachments, any deals that are related to this account, contacts, meetings. But what's interesting about it is you can have this automatically summarize different bits of information. So for example, we can have this show the total number of deals that we have with this account. We can see the total number of won deals that we have with this account. But even further, we can get the total amount of revenue from won deals that are associated with this account. So that's kind of a fun little field that you can put in there. So you can go to any one account and very easily see how much revenue you've in fact closed with this one account. So there you go. That's a really neat feature. All right, so I am going to talk about the lookup fields now. So the lookup field is essentially creating a relationship between records. So the standard lookup field means that you can tag other records to be associated with this one. And in terms of hierarchy, whatever record has this field is the top of the hierarchy, and then you can tag other records to it. So it's kind of like a one-to-many relationship. The first thing you do, let's say that you could have leads that are associated with this account, but they haven't been made into contacts yet. So we'll call this leads. So when you look at the account record, there will be a field called leads, and it will show you any of the leads that could be associated with this account. Now the related list title, a lot of people get confused about that. So this is what it looks like on the lead record. So here on the account record, you look at it and you can see all the leads that are associated with this account. On the lead record, there will be a related list, and whatever you want to call that related list to show that it is related to an account, that's what this title means. So for example, this would be associated accounts. So that's how regular lookup records work, or rather lookup fields. And then I'm going to go into the multi-select lookup. So similar, but this is creating a relationship that is kind of like a many-to-many relationship. As you can see, create relationships between B and C modules so that the B record can have many C records associated with it, but the C record can also have many B records associated with it. A good example of that is, let's say you have, or for our purposes, we have packages of different adventure packs that we sell at our pretend company. And we want to get specific metrics about those different packages. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an association, a multi-select lookup field between our packages and accounts. So then we can see on the account, we can see how many of what packages they've purchased, and then on the package, we can see how many accounts have purchased those packages. That gives us kind of like a many-to-many relationship lookup. We can get metrics on that. So this would be packages purchased. And then in the related module, I don't actually have packages built out, so we're going to pretend that the products module right now is our packages. And so again, if I'm looking at the account, what I'm going to see is packages purchased, but when I look at the package record, what is it that I want to see and how can I describe the relationship to the accounts? So in the packages model, when I look at that record, I want to see accounts. I can just say accounts, but you can call it, purchasing accounts maybe. Let's do that. Oops, if you spell it right. All right. So then, as you've noticed, this little pop-up comes up. It says, allow creating relationship-specific modules, which is basically a linking module. The way that you can think of that is it is a mini record that's created in the back end of your CRM that links all of these different things together. So what I like to think of it as, you have your account and you have your package, and those are two different records that you need specific information for. You want to know what their relationship is. So the linking record is a record of the relationship. So we're going to go ahead and say yes. And then the linking module name doesn't matter so much because it's just a record of the relationship between the two things. So more often than not, I'll give it kind of like an abbreviation of accounts for this example, and then X packages. So this is just, account X packages. It doesn't have to look pretty because it's just going to exist kind of on the back end of things. And that's how you would create a multi-select lookup. Now the last couple of options I want to go over, it's very simple. You have your subform. A subform acts like a mini module within a record. So what you can do is you can have, quit that. We'll add a field real quick. So essentially what you're doing is you're creating like a super beefy Excel that exists on every account record. let's say for our company, we have these accounts that have, or they purchase for different camps that they run. And so we want a little mini record of the different camps, right? So we could have a subform that's like the camp's subform. And so our single line, we would name it camp name, right? And then we want to know, let's say we want to know the max number of campers that they get. And we'd want to know what the phone number is for that camp, right? So as you can see, a couple of things popped up here. We have aggregate field, which basically what we can do here is we can use the rows in this subform, and then we can calculate things based on every single row. So if we wanted to get a full understanding of how many possible campers there are for every single camp that this account owns, we could create an aggregate field that sums up the max number of campers for each camp. So that's kind of how those work. And last but not least, we have sections. Sections are really great for organization. They don't intrinsically hold information. However, they help you to organize your information in ways that make sense to you. And you can use them when you're putting layout rules in terms of being able to hide and show fields based off of account type, for example. So one example would be if the account type was camp owner, then you can have a whole section of, camp owner specific details with fields that relate only to account types that have camps. And then you can hide that section or show that section based off of the account type value. So there you have it. That is, those are all the different types of fields you can add to a record. Please let me know in the comments if you have any follow-up questions. Woggle woggle.